And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Our Kevin Miller cash code word of the day in the 8 o'clock hour is swim. That's right, swim. So take a look at that. Swim for your chance to win up to $5,000. Only a couple days left. We would love for you to be a part of that. Swim is the word of the day. Don't forget, during the Sean Hannity Show at 3:05, your chance to get the next code word. Now, our great friend Frank King is with us via Alaska on a cruise. Frank, hang on for 2 seconds. We're going to get to you. Let me just quickly go to two people here. And, of course, Frank, you'll be commenting on this in a minute. But let's go to Brian in Meridian with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad. And you?
Very well, because I'm out of California in Idaho.
Well, welcome to America.
Thank you. And I'm exactly the kind of person you're talking about, who born and raised and family from California, but I had to leave with my family, my wife and two daughters, and my business and and the jobs that come with it. So I'm proud to be an Idaho employer.
When you take a look at what Idaho has that California lacks anymore, what caused you to come here?
You know, it was a lot, pretty much the how the state runs, the state legislature being a part-time legislature has a lot to do with it, because they don't fill up their days trying to make up laws. They react to what needs to be done, it seems to be. And it reflects in the pro-business policies, whether it be the wage, whether it be the protections for employers, whether it be the overall economic productivity, pro-policies, all that combined led us to go, this is where we need to be to grow and expand the business. And really, I don't see any reason for any business to be in California that doesn't have to physically be there. I don't get it.
You believe they'll be split up into three?
So actually, one of the reasons I called in is when I was in California and went to college, I did a project on this, or a research project, because at the time, and this is back in the 90s, there was actually a proposal to split it into two. And it's been going on for a number of years, or that they've been trying this, and it's never going to happen. And there's a number of reasons why certain groups want it to happen. One, if it's split the way that it did, you would have two states that would that would definitely be blue. You would now add two blue U.S. senators. You would counteract that in theory with two red states U.S. senators. So it'd be kind of a wash with what we have right now. But that's definitely a consideration for outside states to consider, the additional control that region would have in the U.S. Senate by having four more seats for the same population, in essence. The other thing, though, is that Southern California will never vote to approve this, because Northern California would still would then have full control of the water. And that's what California politics really boils down to when it comes to Southern California and the voting population, is the voting population of Southern California will never give up control of Northern California's water.
Brian, thank you. We appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Brian and Meridian Liberty. Linda, hang on. Let's go to Frank King, our man, the comedian, but he doesn't mind being called a liberal provocateur, or maybe he does. Frank,
no.
How are you?
I am good. I am. The reason I live in Oregon, Kevin, one of the many reasons is that they do not allow you to pump your own gas, and I'm such a flaming liberal. That's good, because I would burst into flames.
No, you're always such a great sport. Frank, let's talk about a topic that is on everybody's mind, but very few people will discuss it. And in light of what happened last week with Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain taking their lives, two of the most gifted people that I've come across, and it's funny, I really didn't know much about them until they took their lives, suicide. And this is something that is a crusade for you. So, as you said, you don't have to be a celebrity to have an issue with suicide. Your reaction and your thoughts.
Well, I just did TEDx talk in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, and the name of the title of the talk was Mental with Benefits. And the premise is that what if those of us who are diagnosed with a mental illness and living with a genetic mutation are in fact living with an amazing evolutionary adaptation? What I've discovered is a good number of rich, famous, talented people have a package of mental illness and mental ableness that allows them to, I would hypothesize, to succeed as Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain did. So it's a mixed blessing in that you've got these sort of almost superhuman, abilities, creativity, artistic ability, whatever. But you also have the downside. I get the question very often, by the way, when someone like Kate Spade or Anthony Bourdain passes away. They had everything. They had fame, they had fortune, they had friends and family. And why would someone who, with that many reasons to live, take their lives? And it's often not situational. I've been most wretchedly depressed at some of the best times in my life. Money in the bank, condo paid off, lots of bookings, and that's what triggered it for me, Kevin, to seek help. I was in a situation like that. I was over on Coronado Island off San Diego on the world's greatest off-leash dog park beach next to the Hotel Del. Just spent an afternoon with a German Shepherd, glorious. Got to the bottom of the Coronado Bridge. As I'm starting up, I thought, well, I'll count my blessings. By the time I got to the top of the bridge, Kevin, I'd finished counting my blessings. I still wanted to jump. And I thought, okay, there's something going on here that I'm not completely aware of. So
but Frank,
that's when I began to seek help.
I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but at that moment, you're looking down. You take one more step and you're gone. What brought you back? And the idea of that moment.
Well, in my case, Kevin, dog in the car. And people will often tell you. I got a Facebook post from somebody yesterday who said, I'm still here for my cats. Pets. That's a very dangerous symptom, by the way, of suicidal thoughts, Kevin. If someone's giving away their personal possessions because they want to make sure they go to the people they want them to go to when they're gone, if they start giving away their pets, there needs to be an intervention of some kind. So, and I think that plus misunderstanding. I knew something was wrong, but wasn't sure. So I got, I never actually got out of the car. I just kept driving and went home and made a couple of phone calls and began to seek help. With Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, oftentimes I just dealt with this morning on Facebook. They were selfish. Well, when you're suicidal like that, at least I was, and many people are, you feel like it's an unselfish act because you feel like you are a burden to your family, to your children, to your community. You feel like you're doing them a favor by ending your life. So it's just exactly the opposite of what was sort of counterintuitive. And then I heard all week long it was a cowardly act. That's by people who don't know how much courage it takes if you're living with a mental illness, how much courage it takes every morning to get out of bed, put your feet on the floor, paste on a smile, and go through your day like nothing's wrong. Can you imagine doing that if you're a celebrity? You have to paste on that smile and the world is watching. So,
Frank King joining us. I'm sorry, Frank. Frank King joining us from Alaska. He's doing a cruise. He's a world-famous comedian from Eugene, Oregon. You go back to Bourdain, and I've started to read some of his work or to watch some of his shows, the brilliance in his writing, never mind the brilliance in the kitchen. And you think to yourself, what type of darkness would so envelop someone? And then the points that you're making, the idea that you feel you're a burden to someone, that the world would be better off without you. And, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would have people saying suicide is a selfish act. Thankfully, we've changed, but why do you believe that it's becoming more prominent? Do you think that we're more aware of it, we publicize it more, or this is a growing trend due to something?
Well, it is definitely a growing trend. I don't know if you saw the CDC study that came out, but I believe it's up 25 or 30% since 1999 across the country. I think Nevada was the only state that didn't have that sizable increase. And we talked about before, males age 45 to 54 lead the league. 7 out of 10 deaths by suicide in the U.S. now are males 45 to 54. And to answer your question about Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, sometimes there's what's called a cluster. Somebody will do it, and then somebody will follow, and somehow mentally that makes it perhaps easier for someone else. Or, Kevin, flip side, somebody looks at somebody like Kate Spade or Anthony Bourdain who's got everything. They look at them and they take their lives. This person looks at their life and think, well, gosh, I've got nothing. What's keeping me? So.
Our great friend Frank King joining us here. Frank, what are the lessons for people that are listening right now that might be at risk?
Well, I think if you're listening and you may be at risk, I would suggest that you reach out and get evaluated, find out if in fact it's something either organic. It could be a physical cause, Kevin. I've run across people like that where they're missing something from the enzyme from their liver that causes the depression, or if it's actually a mental cause. To become evaluated. If it turns out you have something, bipolar, depression, whatever, I would get the DNA cheek swab test from 23andMe or one of those companies, and they can tell you what psychotropic medication works best with your metabolism. I would let your family know. It's a difficult conversation to have. I would let your family know that you're struggling. But I must say, as a person who lives with mental illness, I hesitated the other day. I was in the driveway thinking how depressed I was. I thought, well, I should let my wife know. And then my next thought, Kevin, was, well, you know what? If I let my wife know, I'm not going to feel any better, and she's going to feel worse. So, fortunately, I wasn't in a state of mind where I wanted to end my life. I was just in a bit of a mild depression. But it's a difficult conversation. If you're a loved one and you suspect, if your loved one's having trouble getting out of the bed in the morning, rallies in the afternoon, can't eat, eats too much, can't sleep, sleeps too much, maybe letting their personal hygiene go, warning, Will Robinson, there may be something wrong. So you need to flat out, if you're a loved one, ask them, are you depressed, clinically depressed, do you think? And if they say yes, the next question, we've talked about this before, Kevin, are you having thoughts of suicide? You got to flat out ask them. And if they say yes, you say, do you have a plan? If they say yes, you say, what is your plan? If their plan is detailed, then do your best not to leave them alone. Get them on the horn with the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If it's a young person, there's a text line. You text the word HI, hi, to 741-741, because young people are often more forthcoming in text than on the phone as we older people are.
Frank King joining us here, Kevin Miller in the Morning. Frank, is it all come down to the idea of people just don't feel they're loved or appreciated?
Three things, Kevin. There's a sense of burdensomeness. You are a burden, not a plus on the planet. 2, a disconnectedness. They just did a survey on loneliness. Guess which demographic group is the loneliest in the U.S. by this new survey?
Got me.
Millennials. I would have thought seniors, but it's millennials. And I think, Kevin, it's because everybody spends their day with their face in their smartphone, so we're the most connected and least connected society in the history of the states. So there's a burdensomeness, a disconnectedness, and then there's a capacity to die by suicide, meaning there have been several high-profile suicides. You have given some thought to the means that method you would use if you were going to die by suicide. You're in a situation where it seems like a good alternative. That's capacity to end your life. So those three things, if you did a Venn diagram where those three things, that intersect, that common element, burdensomeness, disconnectedness, and capacity to die by suicide, that is the danger zone on the Venn diagram. That's the thing that those three have. When those three things are in common, then it's a very serious situation.
Well, Big Frank, you having fun in Alaska?
Oh, yeah, man, I'm on top of the world. Literally, I'm on top of the world, Kevin. Sorry, I made a joke. Yes, I'm working a cruise. By the way, if you are struggling with depression, cruising, Kevin, for me is part of my self-care plan.
Right.
I get away. I've got downtime to decompress. I can work out every day. I can catch up on all the email and nonsense I never have time for on shore. So if you are struggling with, you believe a mental illness, you need to construct a self-care plan, like exercise, meditation, watch your nutrition, Plan your downtime. It's very important. It's like maintaining a car, really. You know, if you need an oil change, or if you're really stressed and the metaphorical warning light goes off on your dashboard, you know, you go into the car repair place, they plug it into the computer, they tell you, you know, they look at the number and they go, oh, I see you got an oxygen valve problem or whatever. It'd be nice if humans had that, but that's the idea, is you need to maintain your body and your mind as you would maintain a car to keep it running, you know, at top condition.
Well, Frank, we appreciate you making time for us as always, brother.
Hey, and this time I was on time and ready.
Thank you, sir. Take care, Frank.
Thanks, Kevin.
Our great friend Frank King joining us. Liberty Linda, very patient with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. You know, I always liked Anthony Bourdain. I really enjoyed watching his shows. And are we sure that he took his own life?
Well, as sure as we're going to be, Liberty Linda, yes.
Because, you know, well, if you take your own life or if you murder someone else, it's still murder. Taking a life is incorrect, whether it's yours or someone else's. So that may prevent someone in the future from taking their own life. You know, you're going to be in worse trouble, I'd say, with the Lord if you take your own life, because it's still murder. So maybe people will think about that before they decide to do something like that. But anyway, what I called in about was California. You know, it's always been those California Northerners that want to split the state into two sections. And now I guess it's 3 sections. And I don't know why. They just don't want to have anything to do with Southern California, and it seems like they're still doing it now. So I'm one that prefers it to be one state, stay one state, and not be split in 2 or 3. So basically that's what I called in about.
Well, I mean, is it really that bad in California? They want to break it up in 3?
Yes, it is. You know, Northern California is completely different than Southern California, and they don't want to have anything to do with Southern California. And it's been going on there for probably, 15, 20 years. And so today I hear now they want to split it into 3, which I've never heard before. But, yeah, it's always been the Northerners that's wanted to do it.
Well, you think, what a beautiful state, and it's such a blessing. It has so many riches, and yet you have people that just want to blow it up.
I know. It is. The whole state is beautiful. And, you know, it is one very large state, and I would like to see it stay one large state.
Maybe it was the chemtrails.
I don't think they have chemtrails in Northern California, but I know they do in Southern California.
That would explain it.
Perhaps you're right. You know, you always come up with something that's correct. And anyway, you know what's going on in the world, Kevin.
Well, I got to give proper attribution. Ray Amaya fed me that one. So.
Oh, Ray did? Mm-hmm. He's a pretty smart guy.
He is.
Anyway, love listening to you every morning, and that's what I had to say about California. I want to stay one whole beautiful state, and I think most of the Southerners do as well.
Never works out for the Southerners in a split up, though. Take a look at the American South.
I know. I agree. I wish we never had that war. But, you know, I wasn't around then.
They're still mad at Lincoln for that one, yes.
I know. We can't talk to him now about it, can we?
No.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I guess we have to accept the past and go on and try to look to the future of our beautiful United States of America. And thankful we have a president that I believe who has actually saved our nation.
All right, Liberty Linda, I got to run.
Okay, have a great day.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Liberty Linda saving the program. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. And don't forget, coming up, Today at 3:05, your chance to, well, get another word to possibly win $5,000. Win Kevin Miller's cash. Listen to Sean Hannity at 3:05 for the next code word of the day. Speaking of which, traffic and weather together. Our time, 8:29. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. KIDO Talk Radio traffic, 84 east and westbound, looking better. You still have one lane blocked at 84 eastbound at Blacks Creek for bridge repair. Inbound on the connector, slowing right around the Boise River. Still deciding what to serve for dinner? Fire up the grill and make beef strip steaks with grilled balsamic vegetables. Visit the Idaho Beef Council Facebook page for the recipe. Beef, it's what's for dinner. That's your Impact Directory Traffic Update. I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO Talk Radio weather from the Channel 7 First Alert Weather Center. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Kevin. We're going to have the warmest day we have this week, 91 degrees, and then we have a little bit of a cool front that'll come in. Temperatures going to be dropping to the mid-70s by tomorrow. Then we're going to be staying in the 70s, and there'll be some chances of showers and possible thunderstorms as we go through the weekend. I'm News Channel 7's Eric Gebert.
And coming up, more of your calls about the issues that you care about. Barb, Tim, and Pete, you're next with me, Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Don't forget, coming up, it is the Boise Music Festival. Big announcement about the Boise Music Festival Thursday morning. You don't want to miss that. Of course, June 23rd. We're going to have a lot of big artists. You got Robin Thicke. You've got Echo Smith. And whether you're into the music or not, the great thing about the 9th annual Boise Music Festival is you get to walk around. Maybe you want to go on carnival rides. Maybe you don't want to go on carnival rides. But there is just so much to choose from, right? So hopefully you'll get a chance to that out. And, again, major announcement coming up tomorrow concerning the Boise Music. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We're taking your calls about the big issues that matter to you. A lot going on here today. If you haven't heard, they're looking at cutting up the state of California into, believe it or not, 3 states. You're going to have Northern California, Southern California, and then kind of like the beachfront property. So I don't know if that's going to play out or what, but we will take a look at that as we continue to take your phone calls about those stories and more. Earlier today, we were talking about the prison and whether or not you want to spend, they say, $500 million. But in reality, with today's escalation of prices, is it $500 million, really $700 million, which is really $1 billion on a new prison? We've heard the stories concerning prison reform in the Gem State and we're sending people there. By the way, Ray Amaya was telling me they call it Prisony World here. The prisoners that come in from other parts of the country. Prisony World. Wow. Barb, hang on. We're going to get to you in a minute. But first, to Chicago, Jeff Manasso joins us from Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
Good to have you with us here. So Amazon is a little upset, and Seattle backs down.
Well, it flexed its muscles, and Seattle did back down. Seattle's controversial head tax that they passed just a couple of weeks ago, it would have charged companies with annual revenues of $20 million plus $275 per employee. That's down from what they wanted to do. They wanted to do $500 per employee, but they settled at $275, and so this would have brought in almost $50 million a year. The city says to combat its homelessness crisis, one of the worst in the country. Though businesses like Amazon balked at this tax, calling it a job killer, they also questioned the way city leaders were spending current resources in a city where spending has more than doubled in recent years, with basically, according to taxpayers and business leaders, with the same net gain. They weren't getting any more out of this additional spending. So they're basically saying out of control spending, no accountability, live within your means first before you start going after, businesses and ultimately people who live there. and so Amazon, it was Amazon, Starbucks pushed back. There's also Microsoft and Boeing there, and they were a little bit more muted, but Starbucks and Amazon, very big employers. In fact, Amazon is the biggest employer in the city of Seattle, and it temporarily halted construction planning on a brand new high-rise building there in protest. That coupled with the fact that about 44,000 people in the city signed a petition for repeal, the city caved. They backed down. The vote was 7-2 last night to repeal this tax, and this tax is now gone.
Wow, a victory for business.
A victory for business, and if you live there, and if you're afraid that your job might go away, a victory for people who work there and people who live there, and who see these these types of taxes just being tossed around and voted on. And yeah, Amazon's got $13 million, which it would have paid for 45,000 employees to pay for this, but that wasn't the point. Jeff Bezos and company leaders say they want the city to live within its means and to use the money that it has appropriately. And so, if you live there, I think that it's probably a sense of relief for city lawmakers that can just toss around a tax and arbitrarily go after businesses. Which ultimately goes after the people that work there, and so we talk to people, some of the people who signed this petition, and they call it a win, but at the same time they say too little, too late, and that city leaders were just worrying about being reelected, and that's why they voted for this repeal. Though one city lawmaker, one councilwoman who opposed the vote and voted against it, she basically says the city caved to big business, and she even referred to Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos as an enemy of Seattle, although he does employ the most people there, 45,000. They all pay taxes, they buy apartments, they buy homes, and they all spend money at grocery stores and restaurants, which fuels the economy. So I think others might beg to differ.
I would agree. You ever been to Seattle, Jeff?
I haven't.
We get a lot. No, we get a lot of bad reports out of there that people use the sidewalks for, urinals and such, and they've got to pressure wash the sidewalks every morning. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, but they have a huge problem. Home valuations through the roof. A lot of challenges there in Seattle.
It's like San Francisco. Yeah. It's like San Francisco. San Francisco is turning into a different city than, if you visited San Francisco, in the past decade or two, it's not the same. It's different. And they've got a homelessness crisis there that's bleeding onto the streets and making it a tough place, not only to live, but to visit. And so that's one of Seattle's problems. Seattle has, I think, the third largest homeless population in the country, and certainly there are ways to deal with that. But putting the onus on the shoulders of business, it just wasn't working for the people who live and work there, and particularly business owners like giants like Amazon and Starbucks that have a big enough voice to be able to push back. And in this case, they won.
Jeff Monosso, thank you, sir. You have a great day.
You too, my friend.
Okay, our great friend Jeff Monosso. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Barb in Sunny Slope. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Barb. Thanks for your patience.
No problem. Thank you. I was, as I sat listening to I don't remember his name, the man who's on a cruise in Alaska.
Frank King.
Speaking on depression, I have dealt with depression severely for many years. I don't now. I've had a few years now without it. But everything he said was so accurate as to how you feel that it's not a selfish act. I've never attempted suicide, by the way. But boy, have those thoughts entered my mind. And you feel like, it's maybe a relief for your family. It may be a good thing. it's a real tough thing. It feels to me like you're smothering, like you're drowning when I get it. And, you can't breathe, except it's an emotional, you can't breathe. It's awful. But referring also to Liberty Linda's comment on it, one of the things that occurred to me directly from the Lord, I am sure, was when I was a very young child, I had a vaccine and I died from the vaccine. I went into anaphylactic shock and died, and and obviously he healed me and I'm back, so to speak. So, but that experience of having crossed over and having felt of the great love and joy that one feels there prepared me in some way for the later years that I struggled with the depression. One of the things I realized was, as great as it was on the other side, and it is great, one of the things that kind of subliminally was taught to me was, no matter how bad it gets, you don't have that right to take your life. So that is what has held me together from all these years. But I really do understand what that man was talking about, and I do agree with Linda on her comment regarding, the process of killing yourself and the ramifications of that. But one of the other things that has turned out to be a benefit, since I'm not dealing with it any longer, is now I have a friend that is dealing with it. And I can understand her totally. I can help her, and I do. I go over and I sit with her and I talk with her, because unlike a lot of people that have experienced it to the level that I have experienced it, I really have developed the compassion for those that are in it. And I am thankful that I'm able now to help others. There was somebody else that spoke on this, a couple of days ago, and mentioned how it really in some way was a blessing from the Lord because it taught you things. And I have to say, yeah, it has taught me something. It has taught me great things, and I now am at a point where I can reach out to others. But I really do understand the depth of emotion that goes with this. So, I don't know. That's about what I wanted to say. Support Linda's comment and support the guy from Alaska's comment, and just share that this is a really suffocating experience when you are going through it. Absolutely suffocating. And just like you'd want to reach out for air, oh my gosh, that's what it's like. I don't know if I've helped you.
Barb, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Tom in Nampa with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tom.
Well, good morning, Kevin. You're talking about my old state of California where I lived 64 of my 66 years. I'm wondering if they got the wrong thing on the ballot. They were talking a while back. They hated Trump so bad they wanted to secede, so maybe that should be on the ballot instead. I think it's just sort of testing the political waters to see what people feel down there. It's going to be interesting to see what the result's going to be of that, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Right now, like Idaho is on parity in the United States Senate with California, where there's 40 million people and less than 2 in Idaho, and that would suddenly give 6 seats to the 3 states of California. I really think they're splitting in the wrong direction. It needs to be east and west, not north and south, because the Central Valley, northern Central Valley, where I came from before I moved up here, and the San Joaquin Valley are the farming in the parts, and there's a lot of population there too, but they are totally different worlds apart from the Bay Area around San Francisco and Los Angeles, maybe with the exception of Orange and San Diego County to the south of L.A. And they vote overwhelmingly liberal. And any split of the state that leaves San Francisco in the north, it'll still be the population center. It's still going to be voting the way it is. And, California for years was considered the land of milk and honey that people wanted to migrate to because it had a lot of job opportunities. and it's a beautiful state to live in. They got the biggest and tallest trees in the world, the tallest mountain in the intercontinental United States. But I think what's happened, there's so many people now in these metropolitan areas, and the real estate's gotten so high, people have to commute sometimes 3-4 hours a day to and from work. And, you know, in San Francisco alone, the average price of a house is $1.4 million. Can you imagine, even with the bigger wages down there, trying to pay a mortgage on that kind of amount of money? It's terrible.
Well, I don't know. Somebody with big money like you, Tom, I don't think that's a big deal.
Well, what do you mean big money like me?
You sound like we'll call you Big Money Tom.
Oh, okay. All right, well, you tell me where it's at, I'll go dig it up, okay? You know, let me tell you, when I moved from in Reading, the prices actually in Boise are higher than they are in Reading. But business is moving out of there because they regulate it to death. And it's very hard to, businesses look for a place when they locate as to where they can get affordable housing for employees they might bring in. And I just see this Treasure Valley expanding tremendously with business, and it's a place to move. I mean, if I was looking to locate a business, it certainly wouldn't be in California, it'd be up here in Treasure Valley. So that's why you got this influx coming in, and I think a lot of people like me escaped California that, you know, you think we're bringing our the left-wing politics here, but we left a lot of that behind, you know. And so I don't
hopefully
think
you won't be bringing your aggressive driving and road rage either.
Oh, you know what? It's terrible. Well, even this 80 miles an hour on the freeway here, that's crazy. I never drive 80 miles an hour. But I find people very polite when you want to move into traffic. They switch a lane in town. They're good. In California, too often, it's kind of, yellow is a sign to step on it before it turns red. And I don't see much of that here. I mean, you got to have bumper guards on your cars, especially in the Bay Area. It's terrible. They got an attitude down there that won't quit. And I think their middle finger is their yield sign.
Tom, thank you for the call.
Yeah.
All right. Tom in Nampa weighing in. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to the publisher of the Gem State Patriot, Tea Party Bob, on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. California, here I come. That's what they used to say, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
You know, I think California should be broken up into 3 states. The one that's totally nuts, the one that's just plain irritating, and the ones where they're trying to become great Americans. But I doubt that it's ever going to happen and they're ever going to break it up, like they're talking about, as long as there's places like Idaho available with cheaper housing and more conservative attitudes. As you're talking about the depression this morning, it brings back memories of some people in my past who I have known and worked with that took their own lives because they were depressed. And many of them were on these antidepressant drugs, which they say now could be the cause of the problem. I think what I worry about all the more is the diehard liberal Democrats who keep pulling out their hair every time President Trump makes them look stupid. Can you imagine if the Republicans actually run the table in November and Trump gets reelected in 2020? They'll be taking antidepressants by the handful and just to keep their sanity. On your prison issue, you know, we really need to build a new prison if we're going to continue to lock criminals up. What's happening now is they are taking prisoners and sending them to a jail in Texas where they have 24 prisoners in a room, and they're all subject, especially these kids that are sent down there, to the actions of the Mexican cartel members, where a lot of them are housed in this Texas prison. You know, if we don't have enough room to house the people we lock up, we need to spend the money to build a facility. Because if we're going to lock them up, we should have the responsibility for their welfare and their rehabilitation. Sending them to another state, another facility that is more dangerous is just the wrong thing to do. You can't have the laws and have people break them and lock them up and just ship them out someplace else. You need to build what you have to build, and if it costs money, then it costs money. They've been trying to keep from building a prison here for the longest time. Let them spend some of that money they give to the cronies and put it into something that's viable and something that's going to be helpful. I don't have much else to say today. I certainly enjoy your show again, as usual.
Well, you sound a little tired, little buddy.
Yeah, I don't know why. I had a lot of sleep last night. Maybe I had too much.
Well,
8 hours is way out of line for me.
Tea Party Bob, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Kevin, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 580-36-580-KIDO. More of your thoughts on the state of California. Should it be split into three? That's on the ballot this fall. Yeah, that's true. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And Kate in Caldwell, you'll bring us home on KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you, Kevin. All I want to know is all of these people coming here from California, I want to know who's buying their homes.
Oh, that's a great point. Who is buying
and
their
that's all I
homes?
have to say. I'd like to know that. What's bringing them into California to buy their homes so they can come up here and buy our homes.
Kate, you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the phone call. Quick, effective as always. Ray Amaya, great job. Appreciate everybody listening. Glenn Beck is next. May God bless you and keep the faith.